just gonna wait for Chanova to get on. All right, everybody. I'm just waiting. For some reason, it wasn't letting me tag her. Let me see. Maybe, here we go.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Okay, so if nobody knows, this is Chanova. She is also one of the admins for Swoon. I'm just so glad that she's joining me. You're going to learn so much from her. She knows just about everything, I feel like.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know some things. Do I look a little blurry or does it look okay?
Oh, perfect.
All right. So how's everyone doing?
So we're going to talk about our interfacing. As I was saying during my Annette Live, Chanova is really good at experimenting with interfacing. So if you have any interfacing questions, ask away because she knows just about everything.
Everything. I like to experiment with interfacing.
Yes, she does. Hold on, I'm just gonna raise my volume so I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so I did pretty much, I'm gonna do the Tonia bag kind of the way the pattern tells me to. I did make a few modifications, so I will go over that real quickly with everyone, and then I'm going to talk about what interfacing I use. So I have my main panel piece right here. I used, excuse me. So I'm using quilting cotton. It is backed with, on the pattern, it tells you to use fleece. I used woven fuse and fleece because I want this bag to be sturdy. So I did that on both my main outside panels. And that is, so this is my main panel. On my flat panel, I used Decoville Light on my vinyl and fleece because I want it to have a nice sturdy look to it. And then of course, waterproof canvas for my lining, as always.
It saves on interfacing.
Yes,
tremendously.
Yes, definitely. So I don't have to worry about interfacing my waterproof canvas. Same thing for my pocket waterproof canvas, doesn't need to be interfaced. For my split panel, and the pattern doesn't come with the split panel, you're supposed to cut it, but me being me, I will forget to cut it out. So I went ahead and cut out double of the main panel, and then I just cut it where it told me to cut for the slip panel. And so I kind of marked it out so that I know that this is my slip panel. And so quilting cotton, and I'm using a woven fuse waterproof canvas. And let's see, what else? Oh, my gusset. So on my gusset, I have my vinyl, and I did fuse fleece on it like the pattern told me. Waterproof canvas, so I don't have to line that. And then this is where it's kind of different because I don't have 3/4 of an inch hardware. So I modified mine to be 1 inch hardware. So I did a 2-inch strap because I don't want to fold it in fourths. I'm just going to fold it a 1/2 inch to get my 1 inch. Right? I think I did the math right. Yeah. And they're long, but I'm going to cut them down to size when I get to that. And then, of course, my zipper. And I am not doing the hooks for the hook bag. So I have these. I don't know if I really need to use them because I'm just going to connect my, I think I'm just going to connect my crossbody to my D-rings, or I might switch them out for rectangle rings now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. But I have my slide adjuster here. So that is what I did for mine. And so
what are you doing for the closure in the front? Are you going to do
see, I knew I was going to forget something, and I was messaging you that I didn't grab it, but I'm going to do the I think I'm going to do a twist lock maybe for mine.
Yeah. I didn't have the twist lock in the color that I wanted, so that I'm using magnetic snaps. As you can see, I'm using a domestic machine.
Yes, Chanova's going to use a domestic machine.
So that way you guys can see. I am going to do mine in all cotton. So when I'm cutting cotton or any fabrics, I always do the biggest piece first. So I cut out the crossbody strap, and I didn't have a 3/4 of an inch too, but I'm ordering some from Emmeline bags so that I can do it next time. So I modified this for 4 inches so the cotton can fold over onto itself and it can become a bag strap. I haven't interfaced it because I'm still contemplating, because with this kind of bag, I don't think it needs a real structure strap. 4 layers will be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I did have the 10-inch. So I have 10 because the straps are 5 inches. So I have I have a little longer than 10 inches. I usually sew my whole entire strap and then I cut it in half, especially if it's going to be in the inseam, because it doesn't matter if you backstitch or not really in that scenario, because it's going to be caught in the seam in the end. So, and I maybe plan on riveting them for extra secure. So make them 6 inches, so 1 inch could be inside in between the layers, so that way if any tugging does happen, it's really secure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like interfacing either. So for my inside of my bag, I'm using duck cloth because it is heavier than quilting cotton, and I think this is 9 ounce or 10 ounce, and I got it at Joann's, and it's relatively inexpensive. It's like $4 or $5 a yard. It does fray very fast, so my suggestion is always iron. My modifications is I'm not doing a zipper pocket or a slip pocket. I'm going to be using Mrs. H has a book out, and she has this really awesome modification on how you can take a pattern piece and make a elastic pocket. And that I love those because that's why I throw my phone in to them. So I took this and I actually did the math and everything for this piece, so that way it can be easier just to get in and out. And I like to merge 2 patterns. I love combining patterns. So in her book, she shows you how you can create your own pattern piece to have an elastic pocket in any bag you want. And because this bag is so small, I actually use the measurements for the actual zipper pocket, so that way none of the bulk will be in the seams when we sew the gusset on. I am also interfacing, and I'm using my heat press. And what I like to do before, I'm using this is called Structure. It's from fabric.com. It's not woven, but I usually use it for my cards or anytime I use woven and I want it to be really structured. Like I don't know if you can hear it. It's like it's real. It keeps it real structured. So I'm using this first, and then I usually fussy cut my my interfacing first, and then place it how I want it on the fabric, so I can see exactly what I'm going to be cutting out of. And there's no extra glue on the side. There's no extra cutting. And then to make sure that everything goes smoothly in my domestic, I have fusible foam, but I cut it a 1/2 inch smaller throughout the whole thing, so that way, again, it doesn't get into the seams. And the only other piece that I fused on my lining was on the the flap, so that way it can be really secure, because I hate when your flap kind of curls up So
Mm-hmm.
I found out if you use some kind of fusible in the lining, it kind of prevents that curling. And I'm going to be using 1-inch hardware rainbow. I got it from iridescent. I got it from Emmeline bag, and I'm going to be using magnetic snaps because I'm all out of turn locks. I did not know until this bag. I usually have like an abundance because I guess I just used my last one. So yeah. Did you fuse all your pieces already?
Yes, I did. I did everything beforehand, but unfortunately, I have not done any of my bobbins or anything, and so I'm still kind of deciding what I'm gonna use for my color.
What do you use neutral colors usually, or?
I was thinking of contrasting. I have a really cool lime green I wanted to try to use.
Ooh, or what kind of thread are you using?
I'm using Tech 70 thread from Sunny.
Nice. From Sunny?
Yes, from Sunny Sewing.
Is it nylon or is it polyester?
It's bonded nylon, I believe.
Good stuff.
So everyone that's here, things are going to be a little bit different. This isn't going to be our normal live where it's just me sewing, talking. We do have Chanova here, and so we're just kind of doing an introduction of Chanova because she is amazing. And on top of that, we'll be doing the Tonia, showing you 2 different ways that we can do it. So hi, Leslie Ann. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Kara. Thank you for watching. Hi, Rebel. Thank you for watching. So Chanova is interfacing her fabric. I'm going to see what kind of bobbins I have for mine. Please ask questions if you need, if you have any interfacing questions or anything about the pattern. I'm going to still be teaching. It's just going to be a little bit different. We'll have 2 different techniques.
Because we hear a lot in the group that I wish I had a industrial. I do have an industrial machine, but I use my domestic for linings, for little constructions, pockets, zipper pockets. An industrial can take on heavier stuff like vinyl, but you can sew on vinyl with your domestic machine if you have the right needle and things are not in your seam allowance, you're interfacing. I think a lot of people think that you have to have that to be a bag maker, and that's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There are a lot of bag makers out there that are amazing with, make amazing bags with the domestic. Hi, Nikara. I hope I said your name wrong. If I butchered it, please let me know. So for the most part, I was pretty prepared.
I thought I was too.
Normal. Normally I forget everything. Okay.
Well, my hardest part for me to ever pick out for my bag is never the fabric. I do contemplate back and forth, but it's always the hardware. There's so many finishes out there.
Yes.
And it's hard to pick the perfect one because you're like, no, I'm thinking rose gold, no, silver.
Exactly. I'm the same way. I normally have to have everybody help me pick fabric, or not fabric, but either zipper colors or hardware colors because I can never.
And that's why I went for no zipper, because I didn't know I wanted to go for like the gray, and this is tulip pink fabric, and I just got it. So it was gifted to me, so I wanted to use it. And this, it's like the lightest, prettiest purple, and with these gray bunnies, and I'm just like, what color do I want to use? It looked great with gunmetal. It looked awesome with rose gold. It looked good with nickel. So I just went for iridescent. I felt like
perfect.
Bunny.
Iridescent.
Yeah, iridescent.
So I think 2 bobbins should be good. I feel like it's not that big of a purse. I feel like
It's a
big
small
color.
purse.
I'm doing something a little bit different. Normally I stay with all the same color vinyl, but today I'm going to be using I'm making my strap out of black vinyl.
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
I was just trying to hit every color.
Well, it also, you have Jack, and Jack has a lot of black in his outfit. It's all
Yeah.
black. And this is little white part of his bow tie. And two, I feel like black straps wear better long term.
Oh,
Like
really?
color fade, rubbing, all that stuff. I feel like
Yeah,
just
and I'm
black.
using a really thin black vinyl because I did use a thick black vinyl one time. Hold on, I'm almost done with this bottle. I use a thick whatchamacallit. Uh-oh. This got all wonky. I use a thick vinyl on a backpack, and I still have yet to find hardware that I can put on that backpack.
Emmeline bag. Oh, I'm just pointing the scissors at you. I do that when my kids are not around. I'm unsafe. Emmeline bags has wide mouth. This is not the wide one, but they have wide mouth rings that they're meant for thicker fabrics. I just used it on a bag too, and it's a huge difference. Like they're wider. It works perfect.
I bought some from Moto, but there was still just a little, like, I could not get it to go in.
Yeah, it's hers are good, real good actually. I've used her hardware a lot too. I think I just placed an order like a week ago, and she ships really fast. But Emmeline's is a little bit wider.
Okay, that's good to know because I have that in my cart to buy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have my bobbins done. So now we can get to sewing. Let me just, well, I guess I have to thread my machine. Can't forget to do that.
That's the most important part.
I know.
I'm just going to turn, because I'm using all cotton, the best secret ever for any all cotton bag is pressing. Pressing between each step will make your bag look fantastic. And I used to hate ironing with a passion. Still kind of do. But now I appreciate it.
Yes. I am super excited. This is going to be so much fun.
I'm excited too. I'm excited because it's buddies.
Yeah, and I almost used the same exact fabric as Chanova because I have that fabric in, is it teal? Like a teal. And she was like, "This is what I'm using," and I was like, "I seriously had that on my desk."
Great
but
minds,
I didn't have any gray vinyl to go with it, so that is why I did not use it.
Next time.
So
I'm gonna try to fuse this last piece, and then I'm gonna turn off the heat press and put on the iron. Following along, and you're like, "Hey, I want to make the elastic pocket." Like I said, Mrs. H has, as you're going to see, this cutout has this really cool, way of doing it. So the pocket for this is actually 5.5 inches tall by 6 inches wide. And the way Mrs. H has you doing for an elastic pocket is you got to figure out your height first. So I just went for 4 inches because I hate it when it's too close on the top. And then you need to, the bottom is 6 inches wide. You have to make it 60% bigger on the top. So that way when the elastic comes in, it's a perfect square and you don't get like a weird U shape. So the math with that is actually, you need to add 1 3/4 on both sides. And then you get this really cool wonky shape. So
sorry, I'm going to, there we go. I am putting the live on because I think I'm a little behind.
You sound.
Can y'all double hear me?
I don't double hear you. I hear you normal, but
Okay. I'm just putting my iPad on because I want to make sure that I'm not missing any comments, which I am. So
I can't see that's the thing. The last person I see is a really nice heart emoji from Nick Carey.
I am using a Juki DDL 5550. Anita asked about, does it matter which interfacing you apply first?
I always tell people to play around with interfacing because you can. There's some people that like to put the foam first and then put this on so it can fuse it. But I notice I get more wrinkles that way because I think like we're not taking into account that this is like 1/4 of an inch thick, and so it's taking 1/4 of an inch on all sides. And so when it starts to lift, it kind of puckers the fabric. Does that make sense? Like, so let me see. If you fuse the foam first onto any piece of fabric and then you put another like Shape Flex 101 or woven fuse, eventually, because it's not taking into account of the thickness of the foam, it starts to pull because one weighs more than the other. So I usually put the lighter weight fabric, fuse it first, and I don't get as many wrinkles that way.
And that's kind of what I do too. So like when I the only time I did not do that was with my flap. I put the Decoville light first, and then I put my fleece on there. Just because I don't really need the foam, or I don't really need the fleece to be. It's more so for a feel than structure or anything. So that's why I did my Decoville first, because I want that to be more sturdy than I guess anything else. Okay. So let's see. I saw we have a couple more questions. Rebel, yes, these cones are huge, and they're only like $17 or $13 maybe. 17, and they last a long time.
I think I got the rainbow from him. I got a rainbow variant thread.
I can never get the rainbow. They're always sold out. Angela, yes. It is I wouldn't say that this is equivalent to upholstery thread. Would you? What would you say would be stronger?
It's kind of when I have the same machine as you. It's upholstery thread. It's not Tex 90 it's not Tex 90. Tex 90, that thread is extreme. Oh my God. Like you can have two people play tug of war and that thing will not snap. But yeah, Tex 70 is pretty strong. Think about it. Like if you try to really pull at it, it takes a lot to break. Yeah. It's not like I'm using cotton, and mine's is, I got it from Connecting Thread, and it's really pretty purple, lilac color.
I like that.
I got it from Connecting Thread, and I think it's weight 40, but they have a similar weight system as Aerofill thread, but I don't know. Connecting Threads is extremely more cheap, on the cheaper side. I have no idea why, but it works wonderful.
So Barbara wants to know, what can you use in place of foam?
Decoville Light is one of them, and there's a lot of people that carry Decoville Light. You can find it on Etsy. You can find Emmeline Bags, Cyril Bag Maker. And she's in Belgium, and she DHLs, and you can get that stuff in 2 days, like less than 2 days sometimes. You can use, in a pinch, when I didn't have foam, I've used a heavy woven fuse. And there's a couple of places, like if you go to like laundromat facilities, I'll put some in the link later on when this video ends. I'll put it, like if you go to a laundromat facilities, they have a lot of different woven fuses, like different variations of thickness. And their interfacings are incredibly inexpensive compared to the bigger name brands. So you can, I always tell people to play around because I've used batting. I use quilting batting because I quilt. So I've used quilting batting in place of fleece and with foam. I did like a sandwich. I had the woven fuse, then the fleece, I mean, not the fleece, but the batting, and then put another thing of woven fuse so nothing shifted.
Oh, that's nice.
And you just got to play with it because you never know what structures or what you might
Everybody has a
find a new
different.
thing. Yeah,
Everybody likes
bag's
a different
different.
type of bag, so it really is all about personal preference when it comes to interfacing. Tracy, so you can get the thread that I use, the Tech 70 from Sunny Sewing. And if you go to the file section, I have a supply list, and it has the website for where you can go for Sunny Sewing thread. I really like their thread. Like you saw, it's a really big spool, and it lasts a long time.
And they have really good customer service.
Yes, and they ship quickly, like same day. Sometimes like I'll ship and I'll get it same day. And I use Sunny Sewing because they're in Dallas and I'm in Austin, so I get it pretty much next day.
That makes sense.
When would you use Declaville Heavy?
I've used Declaville Heavy in all kinds of bags, especially when I do in knits. I like them really structured. I use it throughout the bag. And I know that's a faux pas with some people, but I learned a trick. To turn your bag and berth it, apply a little heat, a little steam from your iron, and while it's soft, turn that, and it'll be really fast. And then when it gets cool off, it'll harden up, and it's perfect. If you want a super structured bag, I have done Declaville Heavy throughout the whole entire bag.
Well, that's good to know because it's an arm workout to pull any kind of bag through when birthing. Yeah. Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready too. So let's see what the first part is for. So we're going to be starting off with the exterior body. So we're going to pin the 2 slip pocket panels right side together, matching all the raw edges, and then we're going to sew at a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So we're going to get our slip pockets.
And I'm going to, from that, do my elastic pocket because I'm not doing a slip pocket.
Yes. So since mine is more is for the pattern, how do you want to do this? Do you want to walk them through how you're doing yours? Since mine's I've already pretty much said my instructions.
I think you, well, I'm the pattern piece that I got to make the pocket. I am doing basically very similar. I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, then hit it with some steam, open up the seams, and then top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch, and then make a channel that is 3/8 of an inch. Oh, if you're weird with measurements, because I know I was when I did bags, this 99-cent ruler is a lifesaver. It's ticked out to 1/4 of an inch in each one. So, I don't know, for some reason, it makes my life so much easier. Like if I have to draw 3/8 of an inch, I just measure it out. And it helps me with needle placements, the whole 9 yards. And it's like my favorite tool. And I get them from Amazon and they're like 77 cents. And I have like 100 of them everywhere. Every station, there's this ruler.
I need that because I always lose mine. So right now I am getting my slip pocket and I'm going to be attaching it. They're right sides together and we're going to stitch at a 1/4 of an inch, and I have my stitch length at a 3. So I'm going to back stitch and just go all the way down.
My stitch length is at a 2.5, but I'm using duck cloth, so that's why. I probably, when I top stitch it, I'll increase it to like either a 3 or a 4.
Yes, I like my top stitch at a 4, no matter what. For some reason, I just like the look of it.
I
But
like smaller
everyone is
stitches
different.
the way it looks. I like the way smaller stitches look because it, like, for me, I feel like it blends in better. I don't know.
And when it comes to top stitching and the length, like I've said in most of my videos, it really is just personal preference on what you like your top stitch to look like.
Yeah, I
So
agree with you.
I am just turning my slip pocket so that the fabric is right side out, and I'm just clipping because I don't ever use an iron, as y'all know. So I am just using my clips. I'm using my fingers to roll the seam down to get it nice and flat. And now I'm going to do my top stitching at 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, so this one you're going to flip the panel right side out, press the seams, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch, and you're going to go all the way around, basting the sides and making it one piece. Okay. So I'm going to change my stitch length to a 4. I'm just going to make my way down.
Press seams.
Yes, Marcy, we'll make sure that we share the links. I for sure have most of my links up in my supply list, but I will go back today or tonight, depending on what time I get done with this. I will go back today and I will update it with any new links that we might have. So now I'm just going to go all the way around, still at 1/8 of an inch, basting the sides. Making it one piece. Just taking it slowly. You don't have to worry about it being perfect. You just want the top to be perfect because that's what's going to be seen. The rest is going to be within the seam allowance. So you don't have to worry about this being seen.
And breathe. Don't clench your chin. I think one thing I tell everybody when I'm teaching or anything is breathe. I think when we're top stitching, we hold our breath and we clench our jaw, and you just don't breathe. I'm like, just breathe.
That's totally me. I'm stitching and I am not breathing.
Yeah. I touch myself multiple. I need to breathe.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready to move on.
In 1 second.
So I'm just going to get my next piece. So we're going to be doing the main panel piece after this. So just grab some panel pieces.
I forgot my trusty safety pin. That's how I thread any of my elastic. I know that you can get bobkins, but mine's always like bent, like in these weird shapes, and then I can never undo it. So I have
I love my bobkin, but I used to use it a lot for when I sewed clothes, and I really feel like I don't use it as much bag making though.
Yeah, I use it when I'm making like when I'm doing corsets or something like that. I use it a lot because of the channels, but I don't know, for some odd reason when I'm doing bag making, I know it's a good tool to have, but I always bends with fabric. I think maybe because it's not all quilting cotton.
Mm-hmm.
So I use a trusty safety pin, and I have a million of those around because of quilting.
I have a whole container too because there was some points where I couldn't use my bobkin, and so I was like I had to run out and go grab some. Okay, so unlike Chanova, I do not interface, like put my interfacing on my and then fussy cut. So you always know that I have extra hanging. So that was what I was doing. I was cutting off the excess fleece that was hanging off. And so I'm doing mine a little bit, not differently, but I did not want to take away from my Jack the Skeleton. So this is how my slip pocket is going to be. It's going to be black on the inside so that the main piece is still on the outside, and it helps saves fabric.
And it's beautiful fabric.
Yes, I absolutely love it. I got it at Walmart for only like $7, I believe, for a yard.
Yeah, Walmart has some amazing selections.
Yeah,
I got
a Walmart girl. Most of my stuff is always from Walmart.
Well, I got this really cool Superman panel, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with it. But yeah, I got it at Walmart, and people, it's amazing. Whenever I go there, that's the first place I go is to the fabric side. Or
Cindy,
sometimes.
Oh, sorry, Cindy. Right now we are sewing the we just got done doing the main slip pocket. So we're doing the slip pocket, and now we're gonna move on to the main. So what we're gonna do is you want to put the pieces right sides together, sew a 1/4 of an inch at the top. Then you're gonna flip it so that the pattern piece is facing out now, and then you have your right side of your waterproof canvas. You're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch, and then you're going to continue going all the way around at 1/8 of an inch up to make this one piece. And then we're going to attach this to your main panel.
So did you find a turn lock?
Yes, I had one. Luckily, I am using one from Joann's, and I'm pretty excited because I just got these really cool. They're like,
oh yeah,
leather punches. So now I don't have to do it I don't have to measure it out and do it myself. Now I can just.
Those are a game changer.
I got it on Amazon. It was super cheap, and I got it quick too. So that's what I will be using.
And see how this came out. You have your little. It's all
perfect.
Elastic.
That is gonna be so cool.
I like slip pockets.
Oh yeah, I'm a big slip pocket person also, which I was contemplating putting a slip pocket more so on the back because I tend to I like access to my slip pockets because I put my phone in there, I can pull it out real quickly, but this one should be fine because it's gonna look cute regardless. So now we're going to add our slip pocket to our main panel. So you're gonna base it on with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I'm going to change my stitch length back to a 3. I'm going to pin it. Or not pin it so much. I'm clipping mine because I don't want to put holes in my waterproof canvas.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to follow that existing line we just did on that basting stitch. So this one here says that you base it on at a 1/4 of an inch. Let's see, because I'm guessing the seam the seam
all spoons are 1/2 inch.
Yeah. So base it on with a 1/4 of an inch, or you can follow that existing seam or that existing stitch that we already stitched. Whatever's easier for you.
Yeah, what's your preference? I'm using a Smith 9014 needle in my sewing machine.
Perfect. Okay. So now just go all the way around, attaching that slip pocket to your main panel at a 1/4 of an inch, or just base it within the seam allowance. You just don't want to go past a 1/2 inch because you will see that stitching when you go to put your bag together, and you don't want that. So I am just cutting my threads. And so it's kind of dark, so let me turn on my other light. But Let me know, everyone, if there is a glare. I'm trying to change my lighting so there's not a glare so that you can see the fabric I'm using. So we base this all the way around. So now we have our slip pocket.
Put the candy and the gums in. Just all the candy in there.
Yes.
And I basted my little kangaroo pouch to the lining.
Perfect. That looks so cute. Okay.
Nice.
So now you're going to use the main piece. So let's see. So now you want to measure down 3 inches so that you can put in your magnetic snap, or you can put in your turn lock if that's what you're going to be using. So I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to find my middle point of my bag and set my ruler right in that indentation that's already there. And that's where I'm going to put, I mark my, I'm going to mark it at 3 inches.
I'm doing the same thing. And I'm using a Choco Clover pencil because you can just brush it off. And the pencils are relatively cheap.
Yes, I love those pencils.
Yeah, I keep missing the blue one. The blue one's like just MIA somewhere, but yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be installing my snap or my turn lock. It's going to be a little bit different. So right now I am just installing my female piece onto my bag. Actually, hold on. Right?
Yeah. It's you're gonna be using the female piece, yes. No, the male for
this
you.
This was on the back, right?
Yeah.
Pocket's on the back.
Yeah, your body of the bag will have the male on the outside, and then the flap has the opening.
Is the slip pocket on the back? Okay. This is the exterior back pocket, right? The slip panel is on the back or is on the front?
The slip pocket is on the back. The front has no slip pocket.
Okay. Okay, everyone. Sorry. So you're going to want to get your front. So this is going to be your front. This is my back. Don't do what I was about to do and accidentally place my magnetic on my twist lock on the back. So get your back panel piece of your main fabric. Then you're going to measure down 3 inches, finding the middle. I just fold it to find my middle, and then I'm going to add my snap or my female because no, my male. Sorry. Male. Sorry.
I'm trying to find a seam ripper so I can install the magnetic snaps. I usually have them everywhere.
Of course. I lose everything on the live. Okay.
It shows you're natural and you make mistakes.
So I just marked my middle. I got my little washer and I just lined up the middle of the washer, and then I just added my markings. I don't know if you can see them. Let's see where they're at. They're right here. So I added my markings, and so now I just got my craft knife and I placed a little
Right, check?
Yes.
I'm doing the same thing.
And then now I'm going to just cut some Peltex so that I can add it to my, just for a little bit of extra stability.
That's real good. Do you turn your and I like to live dangerously. After I put the glue in, I like to use like really small microtex like scissors and do my little clips in exactly where I drew the line. And I just do a small little snip, and if I need to go a little more, I can.
I use my craft knife to get my snips in.
I
Okay.
find that more my seamer for today.
I am pushing my little prongs inwards.
I do the same.
The only thing I feel like I'm gonna have a little bit of problem with is figuring out where I want to put my nameplate at.
Oh yeah, your nameplates are so beautiful. You inspired me. I really want to get nameplates now.
Yes, I absolutely love them. Honestly, so I decided that once a month I'm gonna order more in then like another color that I don't have. It's only gonna be $66. Like when you do custom nameplates, you put in your nameplate, you have to pay for the molding. The molding was for me $40, and after that you don't have to pay for the molding ever again. Like they keep it on file, you go back and you just say, okay, I want it in gunmetal or I want it in silver, and so then they'll make it in that color and then they'll send it to you. And so it's going to be a lot cheaper, and I'm super excited because
they have iridescent too. They have it the rainbow.
I believe so.
Oh yeah, you're gonna make me go and spend some money.
Is that better, Rebel? Sorry, I know my camera is at a different angle. I was trying not to it's not as dark. Like I feel like it's normally bright, or like it's so bright that you can't see, but the lighting looks really good today.
I feel like I can see you crystal clear, and I feel like I'm in the shadow.
Okay. Joy, this is the Tonia sew along. This is the Tonia bag. Cheryl, I got mine from Alibaba. I have a link in the file section of Swoon Patterns, and it has the link for the exact tags I used to purchase mine.
I'm going to be getting tags. I'm going to have some that says Nova Knits on it.
Yes. Total game changer. I feel so official with my tags. Okay. So we got our back piece, and then we have our mail snap connected to our front panel. And now we can go on.
It's attaching the gusset.
Yes, we're going to attach the gusset. So we're going to get the main panel pattern piece. So this one here, we're going to fold it in half. I'm going to fold it, and I'm just going to do little snips, and I'm going to
do the same.
Hold my centers.
I do the exact same because it gives me perfect. Yeah, I somehow lose if I use a friction pen or a pencil or a pen, somehow, some way, that mark just magically disappears.
Exactly, same. Now I'm going to get my gusset panel. We're doing the exterior gusset panel right now, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. Just making little snips right in the middle. I'm going to fold it. And you can triangle it. On my vinyl, I just do like snips. I don't triangle it because it's just easier. I'm not going through so many layers. Okay, so I got my middle piece, and I'm going to do the same exact thing to the back. So I'm just going to get all my pieces and find my middle piece, or my middle of all my panels.
I think the snipping comes if anybody is a garment sewer, then you snip. You're like used to seeing that this is where I need to pin, or this is the point that has to be connected. And I can tell when someone's a quilter because they use pins for the centers. Like, so you can see where different people like sewing experience comes in. It's pretty cool because it's like telltale signs. Like because I used to do pins on everything because I learned how to sew from my abuelita, and she used to quilt and do garments. And now I snip.
So what I'm doing now is I'm still just finding all the middles, clipping off or triangling the middle piece so that I know when it's time to attach my gusset where it's at. And so I'm just doing that to all my pieces, making sure that you do it within the seam allowance. You don't want to make a big clip because then it'll leave a hole in your when it's time to sew. So just do if you're not comfortable triangling it, just do a 1/8 of an inch slip or a snip right into the fabric, and so it's just a little snip instead of a triangle.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do the same thing to my waterproof canvas or my my lining piece, and then we can attach it. We're pretty much almost done, I believe.
Yes, this bag is like the perfect gift bag. And I honestly feel if you do it with masculine fabric and you could probably do it with a buckle closure, it could be a perfect messenger bag for a little person. Like this is my Lego carry bag, or this is the bag that I'm gonna take with grandma if I go, in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like this is a perfect gift bag because it's not just a pouch. You can change it where it's like attaching to your pocket, or you can have it like a crossbody. Like this is and it's 4 pieces. Is it 4 or 5 pieces?
4 pieces. Mine was 5 pieces because I made the extra slip pocket.
Yeah.
Piece.
So that's it.
Yes.
That's it. And then you're done. And it's good if you're a little nervous with like corners. This is like the perfect bag to do corners with. Okay, so with this little bag, how many do I say pins in there? The clover clips that you get on Amazon, like it's like $10 for like 100 of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I always break them.
Oh yeah, I stepped on like 5 while sewing the Annette bag.
That's the worst. They're worse than stepping on Legos, I feel.
Yes. So
I
pin your gusset to your main panel piece, just easing it in, matching the tops of your main. So clip the middle, go a couple, and then clip the sides or the line up the tops.
Do you clip the sides like on the side? Whenever I'm doing it, I always clip the top one like straight up so that way it doesn't shift. Like I'm always, because when I first was doing gussets, the gusset will always shift when I was trying to ease the curves. And stick your thumb and your finger into the curve helps, I don't know, helps it a little bit more, especially if you're using really structured interfacing.
Yes, it is always okay to use a ton of clips. I use a lot of clips, but I know that it's going to stay.
Yeah. Well, I read somebody's today. I was on somebody's blog. Was it a blog or was it on Facebook? Where they use double-sided tape on their gusset, and they just I think we have to try this because I'm curious to see if it would work. Like they just use double-sided tape on the outside of their gusset, and then they just press it together, and it just stays and it doesn't shift.
Huh.
I don't know. So I'm curious to see if that really works because I never in a million years ago thought of that. I use double-sided tape a lot, and I never thought about using it to secure my gusset.
We're gonna have to try that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, now that you pinned your main panel piece to your gusset, you're going to sew it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And if you're like me, I like to start in the middle and then go all the way up to the side, turn it around, go down, turn it, go down the other side. I just find that gives me a nice even length.
I like to start on one side. I put my clips to hold the gusset down on this side, and then I'd start on one side and just do one continuous stitch. I don't know why.
Personal preference.
Yeah, it really is. The one thing I like about the domestic machine versus industrial is the needle positioning. You can position your needle however you want. So like if you just want to do 1/4 of an inch, you can just move the needle over. And I'm always envious of people that have industrial machines that clip threads.
Oh yes.
Because at the end of this, I will have like a perfect nest underneath my foot, no matter if the trash can is there or not.
Okay, Penny, what does waterproof canvas feel like? Is it smooth? So the back is smooth. The front is like a not, I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe bumpy, but it's like a fabric feel on the front. The back is like a waxy, smooth feel. T, we're sewing the Tonia bag. So I'm going to start sewing at a 1/2 inch. My stitch length is at a 3. I'm starting in the middle. If you're having trouble easing your seams in, if you're like, I'm using vinyl, if it's a little thick, you can clip your gusset to help ease it, but
I do the same thing with cotton. I just was clipping it too, and on the curves just to make it so it's smooth.
yes. Some people also like to use staples.
I don't.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't really work for me. They never fully attach, and then it shifts.
I'm the same way. It never works out for me, and I'm accident prone. So I'm that person that will drop the iron on your foot. I'm that person. I've sewed my finger. I can't even tell you how many times.
Oh my goodness.
So
I
like,
imagine.
the staple somehow would magically get in my eyeball, or I will sew over the staple, then jam up my machine.
So now I'm starting on the other side, a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm just going to go all the way down. My stitch length is at a 3. And we are attaching the gusset to the main panel, to the front panel. So when I get to that seam, I'm just going to slow it down, making sure when I adjust that my needle is down. And then I'm just going to turn while holding, and then as soon as I get to a clip, releasing my clip. Staying at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And now we just attached our front main panel. Let's see what we trimmed down our. So now we're going to trim our seam allowance down to a 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to top stitch. So
No, that we top stitch the flap.
are you sure?
Yeah, it says
So
so.
seam allowance to a 1/4 of an inch gusset. Carefully top stitch along the seam.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 4.
Okay, so we have to pin the ends of the gusset, and on the top, trim the things so when you carefully top. You're right. I didn't top stitch my first one. The on the thing. I will do that now though. I'm kind of excited. I didn't see that the first time.
Dalva, you like the stapling? I feel it's just every time I staple, it does not. It slips out. It could be because I'm using too thick of a fabric, and I decided to do it on a binding backpack that had like 10 layers of fabric. So that could have been my problem right there. T, yes, I do always have my directions in a folder. So I was trying to color code them, but the amount of patterns that are out there, there's not enough colors to put every single. So I have it in a folder, and then I do put, if they're big enough or they're like small enough, I put it in this clear backing. So let me see if I can find one of my other patterns.
I put mine in folders too.
So here is like this is the Blanche barrel bag. And as you can see, this is where I put my patterns at. And so it keeps it all together. So, and I have all my patterns in there. Oh, T said she has sewn her finger too. And she saved her finger before too.
I think that it's a weird. Once I did it and I seen how many people else did it, that I was like, okay, I'm not alone. I broke the tip of my left index finger, and I don't have filling in it from it because the needle like went through my finger and broke the tip of the index finger.
Oh my goodness.
It was very, and that was on a domestic machine. Let me just throw that out there.
That's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to see how we're going to top stitch this. So you're going to carefully top stitch along the seam about 1/8 of an inch from the seam through the gusset and seam allowance. This will flatten the seam on the front of the bag. So I'm guessing you're going to push it aside and you're going to stitch right here. So if you see your seam, you're going to push it to the inside of your main panel, and then you're going to top stitch that.
So it flattens your seam out. That's pretty cool.
So I'm going to turn my stitch length to a 4. And I'm just going to make my way down, carefully adjusting. This might be a little tricky because we are going to have to top stitch on this curve. But we got it.
You got it.
So I'm just going to make sure that my main panel is pushed out and my seams are facing towards my main panel as I make my way down. Making sure that my needle is down while I adjust. You don't want your needle up because you will accidentally move your, if you move it, it'll cause wonky stitching and you don't want that.
I don't know if you know, but for your machine, you can get a needle synchronizer.
I was going to with my, when I upgraded my servo motor, but I didn't want to pay the extra, and so I was like, oh, I'll just figure it out.
It's a beautiful thing because as soon as my foot gets off the pedal, the needle automatically stays down.
Ooh, I might need that. I've gotten in the habit of making sure my needle stays down.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still top stitching this. I'm just making sure that everything is nice and flat before I can like stitch again. So you're gonna have to kind of work it because it's gonna want to curl back. Like it's not gonna want to stay flat, especially on this curve. That's why you want to make sure your needle is down so that when you do adjust, it's easier.
I'm trying to figure out how the top stitching on the back panel when you attach it, or is it just?
I wonder if it's only on the front. It says this will flatten the seam on the bag.
Yeah, only in the front. Repeat sewing exterior in the back pocket with a slip with a longer edge, then trim the seam allowance. Yeah. Because I was like, that's kind of difficult.
Yeah, it would be difficult. Okay, so now we're getting to the easy part. We're going up this straight side. We're past the curve. back stitching. And if it's wonky, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's handmade. Okay. So if you want to check out what your stitching looks like, just turn your bag. And I'd say not too bad.
That's beautiful.
So it has all my, and it gives it this nice little like piping look.
Yes, faux piping look is phenomenal on bags.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to repeat the back. You get your back main panel. Flip your piece back to the wrong side out. And then matching your center snips that you put, I'm going to go a couple of clips to the side, a couple of clips to this side, and then I'm going to match Yes, honestly, before I had it in a binder and it really just was not working for me. But these folders I really love because with the binder I was putting it in the sheet protectors, but then when I would go to do my pattern or I would go to sew, I would have individual sheets and I would lose them. They'd fall on the floor. I would roll over them with my chair and it was frustrating. Now I have it in this folder. It's all there. It's easy to flip between. So
I love having
the folder.
Pattern pieces in the folder. I love having the pattern pieces in the folder just because if you make any weird modifications or you have notes, and I put notes on pattern pieces.
Yes, actually.
All the time.
That is exactly what I did. Let me see if I can find it.
Let me see if I can find my folder real quick.
So as for everybody that was with me for the sew along, I did the drop-in lining, and so what I did was where I made the modifications, I put notes on where or what I was supposed to do instead. So that is what I did on my pattern piece. So see, this is where the main modification was for doing the drop-in lining. I had to do things differently. And so I kind of learned a lot where, you know, don't do a basting stitch on leather, on vinyl, because you'll see it.
Yeah. So, here's my net. I got these folders from actually, do you know who Kittenish Behavior is on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
She has all of her patterns like beautifully organized, and she gave us a link to where she got these beautiful folders, and that's what I do. I have all my pieces for the net, my modification, how I do like recessed zippers on the side, and then I have the picture on the outside, and then the name so that on the top, so when I file it away. I do folders too. Just makes life easier.
Definitely.
You're right. Something about the binder just didn't work out.
Same. I would always forget that it was there. Chanova, Delva wants to know what machine you're using.
I'm using a Brother NQ3500D domestic machine. I use it usually when I'm embroidering, but it has like this dual foot. Like it has a different way of sewing. Like the needle actually feeds the needle synchronizes with the feed dog, so it does an even pull of the fabric.
That's nice. So I just pinned my panel piece. Now we're going to sew this at a 1/2 inch, just like we did the other side. And this is the back side of the bag. So I'm starting at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. My stitch length is at a 3. And I'm just going to sew all the way along, moving my clips when I adjust, making sure my needle is down.
I'm sewing at a 3 too. I just like the way that stitch length looks.
Yes, I find it's a really good connecting, or like it's a sturdy stitch for, it's not too small for like to where it perforates my vinyl, but it's also not too big where you can see the stitching when you turn the, like you can see the gapping in the stitching when you turn the bag. So
yeah, you have to find that perfect balance, because some people, you can see the stitching in between their vinyls because either the stitching is too big or too small.
yes.
So I do find 3.5 being really good for my vinyls, and then like you, I top stitch with a 4. The only time I go to a 5 for top stitch is usually for the actual strap, because I like longer stitches on the strap. I have no preferences. Just different. Everyone has different preferences.
So I'm just making my way, adjusting, putting my needle down, and I'm just going to go all the way at a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around, attaching my main panel to my gusset.
Just breathe, everybody.
Yes. That reminds me to breathe. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut that down again to 3/8, or not 3/8, but to a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we're going to cut down our seam allowance to 1/4 inch, trim it down. That way it's easier to turn. You don't see that bulk.
Yeah. Definitely, yes.
Okay. Toss. And now I'm going to put my clips away. And then if you want to see what your bag looks like, you can turn it around, admire it, make sure everything is nice.
Yeah, and I think you keep it that way because the lining goes over the right sides once you turn it.
Yeah. So this is so cute. Already.
Isn't it the cutest little bag?
Yes. Okay. So I'm just gonna roll my vinyl out just to kind of give.
And I'm going to hit it with some steam real quick.
So there, that is what it looks like so far. So cute. And the little slip
It's a
top.
beautiful bag.
I love that. Okay, so Chrissy asked, what should I do if I accidentally sew too much in the seam in the corner, causing one side to bulge on the right side?
Okay, if you still have it wrong side out, you can try to clip a little bit of the inside in between. So like if it's stuck like in between, to see if you're able to get a little bit of snipping without ever touching the stitching. Or if it's really bad, if it's cotton, you can always, your seam ripper's your best friend. If it's vinyl, that's where it gets a little bit trickier.
If you want, yeah, if you don't want to cut into the seams, you can just put it back underneath your sewing machine, go back to where that 1/2 inch is, tack it down to back stitch, go not the right seam, so you're going to go the right seam allowance, you're going to do the 1/2 inch, and then connect the other side, making it even, and then once it's even, you can go through where you went too far into the seam, and you can clip that out, and you don't have to worry about it not being secure because you tacked it in the front, you tacked it in the back, and then you corrected the correct seam allowance. If that makes sense.
As long as it's in the seam, if you have to go a little outside of the seam, make sure you do the same on the other side of the back, so that way it's even.
Yes.
Because I have had to do that where I accidentally cut in that 1/2 inch seam, so I had to go a little bit, and then I just went around to the same the other seam. Your bag still looks super cute.
I'm super excited, and and Chrissy, don't worry, because I do the same thing where I go too far into the seam on the corners. And then when I do that, if I've caught it ahead of time, I just try to adjust that at the next corner also. If not, and it's really, really bad, and I went too far in, like say it was supposed to be a 1/2 inch, and I may have went almost 3/4 of an inch, I will just go back 1/2 inch and correct it, and then whatever was past that 1/2 inch, I pick it out. But I know that it won't come undone because I've tacked it at the front and the end.
Yeah. It happens to all of us. Every single last one of us. Your bag looks really good. I love the green because it kind of makes me think of a candy apple. Very Halloween.
I have been hoarding this fabric forever. T, don't be scared. Let me tell you, I did a Betty Bowler bag the other day, and I messed up maybe about 6 times. But it all worked. It works itself out. I love bag making because you can hide your mess ups, so to speak.
Yep. So, imperfections are perfections.
Exactly. So Dalva, we are kind of making different bags. So she has a couple of different modifications on hers. On her slip pocket, instead of doing a slip pocket like I did, she did a kangaroo pouch, and so she'll show you, which is super cute.
So I like it because you can just stick your stuff in there.
Exactly. So she did a kangaroo pouch. I am not doing the connecting straps where you can pull the strap off and you can hang it on from your pocket belt loops. So that is where I'm doing. Mine's just going to be a full crossbody bag. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can set this aside because we're going to do our flap. So grab your flap pieces. Here's my flap pieces.
I know I have the top of that.
And I'm just going to trim up my sides because, you know, I'm not careful when I...
And I did my foam a 1/2 inch shorter all the way around, so that way when I do this, it will not be super bulky, but it'll look tight at the end because of the 1/2 inch seam allowance.
Yes. Okay. So you're going to put your pockets right sides facing each other. Going to clip it.
Out of all the things, the gusset's important, but the flap, to me, take your time, because the flap, this has a unique little dip, like a nose. Just take your time, and, you know, sewing's not a race. Like, no one's going to win anything. You're going to win by having a better looking bag, by taking time and paying attention to the details.
What is your foam called? Kathy wants to know what your foam is called.
This is Vaseline. I found this lady on Etsy, and because I was trying to get some Decoville light, and I found out Vaseline. I think am I saying it right? Vaseline, Decoville, Vaseline. It's they have their own version of Woven Fuse, and they have their own foam, and the foam to me is better than, it reminds me of Basil's being really condensed and cushiony, but it's lighter than Annie Stables. I actually really like this foam.
Okay, so
I'll put the link to the at the end of the scene. I'll put the link to her Etsy shop.
Yes, we'll put the links on things that we use. So T, I am not using foam. I'm using fleece and Decoville light on my panel. Chanova is using foam on her flap, correct?
Foam and structure. Structure is from fabric.com, and it's relatively inexpensive. I think it's like $42 for a roll of it, and you get like 15 yards, and it's not woven, but it does exactly what the name says. It gives it structure. Like, this looks not like it's fabric. Like, it looks like it might be a vinyl or something else, or even a canvas. It gives it a canvas feel when it's done, like a very thick and lush feeling.
Teresa, I am using duck bill clipped for hair on my to clip my flap. And then Tricia, I will definitely probably not ever use binders again. I definitely love the folders. So if you can do the folders, you could do it. It's been a lifesaver. Okay.
It's easier to organize and file. And
definitely.
Like I'm one of those people that I make notations on my back. Okay, so I like to make costumes. So one thing that I tell people about bags, when you're making a dress or you're making a corset or you're making kids' clothes, you make a muslin. So you find out if you want to put darts or you need to do some kind of adjustment. I do the same thing with bags. I have a whole bunch of muslin bags where I literally write what I like or dislike or what I need to take in to create the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So I want, like, before I use whatever fabric I'm really holding near and dear to my heart, I make a muslin. And I use cheaper thread then too, and just that's how I figure out what kind of interfacings I prefer. I am a person that I have used. There's this, I call it cheap stuff from Walmart. It's this interfacing that's not woven, but I use it on my card holders, my wallets, some back for like interfacing the bag part of the zipper so it doesn't get slouchy. And it's like $3 or $2.99 a yard at Walmart, and it's my number one interfacing that I use.
So right now, what we're about to do is we're going to be doing the flap. So you're going to want to get your flap piece, put them right sides together. So your main flap and then your lining flap, right sides together, and you're going to sew it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around. Hold on. Actually, use the flat panel pattern piece. Okay, so I'm going to, if you've already sewed it together, don't worry, because if you're using a snap, you can still poke your holes without going through the lining. But I'm doing mine a little bit differently. I'm using the snap hook, so I actually need to I need to measure out where it's going to be on my piece.
I like to not put the magnetic snap in until I actually sew it, similar to what you just said, and because you can still stick your hand in between and do it, but it's all about what your preference is. I'm using these really pretty rainbow ones, magnetic snap. It's so pretty. I love everything rainbow.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm measuring down. I'm gonna put where my marking is gonna be, and then I'm gonna cut my hole out for my turn lock. I'm not gonna put my turn lock in. Well, no, I'm gonna put my turn lock in because I have to put screws in, and it's gonna be really hard to put the screws in if you've already put the back on. So that is why I'm doing mine a little bit differently. It's just gonna be easier. So you're gonna go down 4.5 inches.
Do you ever, whenever I do this magnetic snap, I always lose the back into one of the things. Like I have what I'm looking for. I'm like, where is the little washer?
So I'm gonna pull my screws out right now. And I'm gonna put them over on this side because this is one thing I don't want to accidentally lose.
I have a bowl beside my thing that I automatically put the screws in. I am marking 4.5 inches and using the washer as a template and putting the little marks there. I'm going to use fray check, put them on the mark lines that I made, just fan it out real quick, and then cut a little bit into it. It's always better to do a small slit because you can always make it bigger. When you go really big, there could be a lot, you might have to do a patch job or embroidery and then not use a magnetic snap. There's things to do to fix it. It's just easier to do smaller and then go bigger.
So I am just lining this up. I'm eyeballing my center here. I'm using a little hole cutter that I got on Amazon, and it cuts out the hole for the, and let's see, you're just going to nail, you're gonna hammer it down.
Oh, and you're using a rubber mallet. That's the best thing you can do, because when you use a metal one, it actually has nowhere to reverberate the traction of hitting it down. Most leather workers use rubber mallets as well.
Okay, so now just going to place it in my, let's see.
There's so many beautiful turn locks too. I've seen on Facebook today somewhere where someone had a turn lock that was a Disney castle. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Okay, so I'm doing my turn lock right now. I just poked some holes so that I could get my screws through.
I just put the melt in of the magnet snap on the back, and I turn in my prongs towards each other, because I think when you do them out, I've had a magnet something slide out, so I like to turn it in on each other. And then I learned this from Mrs. H. She puts duct tape on the back of all of her prongs. So I usually use whatever tape is near me, packing tape, duct tape, whatever. And I'm cutting down my seam allowance from where I stitched it. And I'm snipping around the corner so that way it could lay flat.
So I'm just trying to I'm just going to cut the holes out where the screws are supposed to go. That way they're easier to go in. Okay. Here we go. Now I can put my backing on and find my screw that I lost.
A bowl.
I know. I lose everything. Even though I'm like supposed to be, I'm like sitting here and it's like where it's supposed to be.
There is a quilting shop that has these magnetic bowls, and when I put my hardware in, no matter what station I am, I automatically throw it in the magnetic bowl. The only time I don't use the magnetic bowls when I'm using my domestic machine, because I know it's a myth that you're not supposed to use magnets on it, but I don't want to ruin the machine. So, all right. So what I do for my pattern, not my pattern, but my thing, or I'm still having it, I cut out little triangles so it can, when you turn it right sides together, it can spread evenly and it's not bulky. And it helps alleviate some of the bulk. It is tedious and time consuming, but in the end you get like better results.
I'm just over here struggling with my turn lock.
Take your time, take your time. What is your favorite thing to do when you're making a bag? Like, is it installing hardware?
this is weird. My favorite thing is top stitching.
I like top stitching too. I don't
I
know
don't
why.
know why. Something about it is so satisfying.
Yeah. I get usually nervous installing hardware because like it's all about lining it up right. And I'm like, what if I mess up?
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
there
I
we
have
go.
little triangles everywhere now.
So I'm
So I
just
have
using a eyeglass screw to screw this in. I found that helps because I don't want to accidentally strip it with a big whatchamacallit,
very smart.
a big screwdriver, because that would be really sad.
Yeah, the
So I'm trying to,
eyeglass.
yes, and I have it. I didn't buy it because I just had it because I wear glasses, and I was like, oh, this actually would be perfect for this.
I seen it in the grocery store. They usually have it where the gum is. And I was there and I was like, huh, I wonder if this will work on my hardware. And it's like $3.99 at the grocery store. It's where the gum is. So I'm using this bone finger, it's polka dots and pink. And I'm just like going inside and not stabbing the fabric, but letting the fabric mold around the boning tool. So I don't accidentally poke a hole and have to go back and restitch a stitch.
Holy, I cannot. Apparently, I do not know how to screw in anything. I'm sorry.
No, take your
I
time.
always have to. I feel like it's just like what I have to do. Apparently, I just have to struggle at least once every bag.
It's part of the process. I told someone today like what we learned, and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I do this in the beginning? It's part of the process. A baby doesn't start walking. It has to roll. It has to crawl, or like some babies army crawl or scoot before they walk. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And then this community is really giving. And if we talk to each other, we can help each other out and learn so much. Okay, so I'm gonna go hit it with the steam, but see, because I didn't have any of the stuff in the steam allowance, it fits perfectly. So I'm gonna hit it with some steam so it can be all pretty.
Okay, so Angela wants to learn how to do corsets. She wants you to teach her. And you make your bags out of muslin first.
Mm-hmm.
Game changer, yes.
Oh, definitely a game changer, because if you're doing this for profit, or if you, let's say you make a bag more than twice, I tell people start with the muslin. Why did I find the washer after I got another washer? Yeah, underneath the lining fabric. Look how pretty this is. It's clear, crisp, and we haven't even top stitched. If you just take the interfacing out of the seam allowance, you'll be fine. You can use your domestic machine. And this is real sturdy, and it's just foam. And I put interfacing on the lining that was structure fusion, not woven, and call it a day.
Okay. I think I finally got it. There we go.
Oh, do you have sewer's aid?
What is that?
It's like a lubricant that helps, like if the area of sometimes with the hardware it comes really dry, and I don't know why. It's kind of like oiling your machine, because you can use a solar aid for your thread if it lints a lot, but you put a little drop on your hardware if you're screwing it in, and it just eases it in, like it literally lubricates it so you can screw the screw in a little bit tighter.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that. Okay, so I am really tightening this because I am going through layers of vinyl. and it's like, so I just need to do this side. It's a little loose, and you can see that it's loose by.
Wait, you put your flap together first, right?
No, I haven't put my flap yet. I'm doing this first, and then I'm gonna do my flap because I had to hammer that hole through on mine.
Okay,
oh,
so
duh.
You
Yes.
want to untake the hardware out and
What are you talking about? Yes. Oh my gosh.
you
Okay.
have to untake the hardware out, get a bowl, and then sew it together, and then just repunch the holes as
I
1
struggled
unit.
with this bag for no reason. Everybody, it's not alive if I do not mess up, right? It is. I thought I was gonna be mess up free, mistake free. Okay.
I mess up on every single bag. That's part of bag making. That's part of garment making. It is what it is. And like I said, imperfections are perfections. You can't go, I'm sorry, I've been into Louis Vuitton stores, I've been into Coach, really examine the bag. There's stitching that's missing, or the grommets are not put in correctly, or the rivet has a dent. Nothing's perfect. That's what's so perfect about this world.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. The screw didn't want to come out with my, so I have to pull it out with my big one. Okay, so learn from my mistake. I just spent all that time trying to do this, but don't worry because now I'm going
sorry,
to.
I should have looked up. I should have looked up. I apologize.
What am I doing? Apparently, I don't know. Okay, so I was correct in the beginning. You are going to want to stitch this pocket, and then you want to put your snap in because you have to go through both layers on a turn lock. And this just shows that I hardly do turn locks. Okay.
Once you do them, they become so easy. Once you do them, you want them on everything. I was really disappointed I didn't have a rainbow lock. And I have this thing where I can't mix hardware. I don't know why. It just like my brain, it just doesn't compute, and it just drives me insane.
So I'm sewing my flap at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm sewing it at a stitch length of 3. Then you're going to want to trim the seam allowance down to 1/8 of an inch. So you're gonna trim it down. I'm gonna do pinking shears on mine.
I like doing that because the pinking shears basically does the V that I was doing, except it gets the job done really faster than what I was doing. And when you turn it, the vinyl or the fabric just spreads like your finger so that it goes evenly and it's not as bulky and you can't feel it in the seams.
Mm-hmm. I have the cheap Fiskars one, and it's like the arm workout.
I'm gonna let you know right now, I have never found a perfect pair of pinking shears. If any of you guys out there know a perfect pair, please let me know, because I've had Ginger, I think Kai had some, and they were really sharp, and then they were dull, and they cost just as much to get sharpened to them buying a new pair.
Okay, so now I am pulling my strap out, or not my strap, my flap out. I'm going to top stitch, I believe. Am I going to top stitch yet?
I top stitch before I put hardware in because it's easier to
Yes. Okay, so that I'm going to top stitch.
And you need to get a bone. You need one of these. I have.
I think I have one actually somewhere. I have this one.
Yeah, I have that one. I use it. I use that one too. I found this one, this pink one, and then I have. I don't know. I like pretty. Then they had it in baby blue, and I was like, oh my god. I mean, they're so bright, so I can't misplace them. And that's sad that bright things grab my attention.
Okay, so I have my flap, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch around, making sure I'm going to do a little bit of a bigger stitch length because I am on glitter vinyl, and I want a nice finish because it's a little bit sticky. I found that glitter vinyl is stickier than regular vinyl.
Oh, yes.
So with a longer stitch length, I won't have to worry about sticking. I am using a Teflon foot, but
the sewer aid would help with that too. It helps like glide it. Let me see if I can find it.
I have to get some. Okay,
yeah,
so I'm 1/8 of an inch all the way around.
So this is what I use. And it's for your hands, your sewing machine. And I find it with glitter vinyl, this stuff is amazing. Or if you're an embroidery person, the tearaway stabilizer, because it has a rough surface, you can do it and just rip it off.
So my needle is down. I'm just trying to push this corner out because it's a little, it wasn't rounding out. Okay, perfect. So now I can go. I'm continuing going to 1/8 of an inch around, top stitching. I'm doing like at a less than 4 1/4 inch. It's maybe like, it's probably 4 1/4 inch stitch length for me. And I'm just gonna go around this corner. If I need to, I'm going to crank my wheel and hand stitch around that so that I can get a nice curved stitch. And then I'm just gonna go all the way back. Okay.
I literally have Ross in my head saying pivot every time I have to pivot.
So here is, so here is my top stitch of my bag.
That's beautiful.
Now I'm just going to, put my tag in, or I'm gonna mark where I want my nameplate. I think I'm gonna go about 2 inches down.
That'll be pretty.
Yes, Cheryl, you should get a Teflon foot. You can get Teflon foots for domestic machines.
Yes, a Teflon foot, or if you can get a walking, if certain like Brothers has, I believe, a Teflon walking foot. So I don't have it with me on me, but you can get a Teflon walking foot. And again, I cannot stress enough, sewer's aid helps tremendously with any kind of vinyl, even on a domestic machine.
Penny, I don't have separate scissors for vinyl or cotton. I just use whatever scissors I can grab. I will say that I do have, like, these are my paper scissors, and then these are my like scissors that I use for any kind of like fabric.
Yeah,
that's the only difference that I have.
I do when I use vinyl, I do use my Kai scissors, and fabric I use regular scissors, but because the Kai scissors are so sharp that it's just like a clean cut with, like, I can waterproof canvas, I can just like, it's amazing like with really sharp scissors, but paper scissors are completely different. I made that mistake when I first was sewing again. Like I would use paper scissors on my fabric and find, yeah, that didn't work out so great.
So T, my nameplates are, let's see, they are about 1 3/4 by, let's see, by 1 inch. They're supposed to be one inch by 1.5, but the measurements are a little bit different. They go based off of millimeters, I believe.
Yes, centimeters and
So
millimeters.
it was a little bit different. Okay, so I know where my middle mark is. I can kind of see that middle seam or that middle fold, and I'm gonna go 2.5 inches down for my metal tag. I'm just gonna place this right in the middle. Then I'm gonna add my
I'm gonna go iron my strap. I mean my for the key rings.
So I'm poking a hole through, making sure I don't poke a hole through my lining. Okay. Just gonna cut this off. I like to keep this on while I'm sewing so that I don't scratch up my nameplate.
Yeah, I keep all the plastic on until I'm done with the whole bag. Because it could scratch easily.
Yes, and I've had that happen to me. My machine chewed it up and I was like super sad. But luckily I was able to fix it, so it wasn't a huge deal. Okay, so I'm just placing my tag in my nameplate. I'm really pushing it through because and now I can just get I'm pushing mine towards the middle. That's how I like to do mine. Okay. There we go. So there's my nameplate, and then I'm going to put my
That looks pretty.
little plate here. So I'm just going to put this here, hold it, go through, because I want to cut out my lining piece from my making sure I don't hit my finger because I've totally done that and it's
Yeah. Yeah. That's not the best.
yes, okay. Set this aside. Now I can put my tag.
What's your favorite color on the tags that you got so far?
I've only gotten silver. So I guess silver would be my favorite.
What color are you gonna get next?
I'm thinking gunmetal. I really enjoy using gunmetal. Okay, so now I am just going to look for my screws. I already lost one. Oh, I found it. And making sure you put your back piece on. Oh.
My house is so quiet right now. I can hear all the steam coming from my iron. I'm like, man, my iron's loud.
Okay, so I'm just pushing this through, attaching it to the Okay. And now I'm just going to straighten this out. There we go.
What do you normally listen to when you're making bags? Do you have YouTube on the background or audibles or
YouTube. I'm really weird. I enjoy cartoons, so I've been really into like this movie called Willoughby.
oh my god, that movie
Really,
is fantastic.
I love it. Oh my
It's
goodness. So
such
that's
a
what I
good
have.
movie.
I love the song. If I'm listening to music, I listen to that on replay. So I am
I've been
just sorry, I'm just putting my I'm still working on my snap. Like for some reason, this is the hardest part of the bag for me.
it gets easier. It'll be like second nature, except those missing screws that happens to me a lot if I don't put them in the bowl.
Yeah.
I ironed my they're supposed to be 5-inch connectors for your hardware. I don't have 3/4 of an inch hardware, so I modified it to have 4-inch wide, and it's supposed to be 5 inches. I'm gonna go 6 because I want a tail to be in between the layers, so if I rivet it, it can be that extra secure. It'll be anchored down in the bag. So because Monica is having vinyl, she only has to fold. I had to iron, so always iron. And
Okay.
so
So,
that
it's
looks
wonky,
good.
but it will work.
This is mine. I did 2 rows of stitching. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, it's so cute.
Right, and then you have minus the thing I have my little iridescent snap, and it's nice and lush. I love this. I love this foam. It's very, I don't know. It feels different than the other foams I've experienced. Because normally I will use just like whatever foam's on sale.
Okay, so now we're going to add the flap to the body. So you're going to turn the exterior. So now you're going to grab the body of your bag, the outside, and you're going to turn the bag wrong side out. So you want it to look like this. Okay. Now you're gonna you're gonna slide the flap finished. Okay, you're gonna slide the finished flap inside so the exterior side of the flap is against the right side of the main exterior.
I'm just going to do right sides because again I'm working with cotton. It's a little bit more easier to manage, and because I'm on a domestic, I can move the arm and it's a free arm and it can go in between. That's
So
what I
make
like.
sure that I'm doing this correctly because wait, hold on. Wait, yes, I'm doing it right. So now I'm just gonna kind of double check because we all know I like to mess things up. And that's not right.
It's 1/4 of an inch.
Okay, so you want it to where right sides are touching. So like this. So you're gonna have your flap. See, this is my outside. This is the inside of my flap. You're gonna want that to be facing your main or the front of your bag, and then you're gonna want the right side, your vinyl, touching your slip pocket. And then you're going to base this flap in place with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So putting my stitch length back to 3, and I'm gonna baste it with a 1/4 of an inch. And then you'll be able to see if you, and then I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. So I'm going to go all the way down, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. There we go.
Then you can turn that back right side.
Yep, to check to make sure that you connected it. There we go. So now you'll turn it. There we go.
Oh, that's so cute.
And that is how it's going to be. So that is my exterior. I know. I'm so excited. So I'm going to set that aside.
And we go to page 5.
Yep. And now we're on page 5. We're going to be doing the strap connectors. So for me, I'm going to be doing my center. Mine are going to be a little bit different because I am not doing 3/4 of an inch. I'm doing a 1 inch. So I am using vinyl, so I don't need to worry about hiding my raw edges. So I put a line right down the middle of my 2-inch strap, and I'm going to get my double-sided tape now, and I am going to add it down the length of my strap.
I did 4 inches, and I folded it into itself, and I used a little bit of interfacing down the middle, so that way it can have some kind of structure, and then ironed it again. And I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch on both sides, probably with a 3 stitch. And I don't back stitch on this because the strips are going to get cut in half and then added to the seam of the bag.
Yes. So what I'm doing here is as I did my line, put my double-sided tape, and I met them to the middle. And I butt up my edges right to the middle because I'm just going to fold it over. So I'm going to actually, I think I might cut this in half. So I'm just going to finish this side, and I'm going to put it in half and cut it. And that's going to be my connectors. And so now I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch on each side. On this one, you don't have to worry because I know on some of them, when I do my straps, I like to leave 1/8 of an inch gap so that it folds nicely. But since I'm not folding this again, I can butt it up to the edge. So now I'm just going to change my stitch length to a 4, and I'm going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. I back stitch, but that's just because it's habit, not because, you know, you really need it. Because it's going to get put into.
It depends. I like to cut my vinyl all in one long strip and then cut to size. So I don't know why.
That is what I plan on doing because this is going to be too long of a strap. So I am going to carefully zap my edge, zap my thread, making sure I don't touch my vinyl because you'll burn it.
Yeah. And it's not pretty when it's burnt.
No, it's not. So there we go. All done. So that is my strap. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to fold it again. And I'm going to cut it with my scissors if I knew where they were.
I cut 16 straps and then I'm about to connect them.
Okay. So if you want a quick sew and you're not very familiar with the turn lock. Don't do the turn lock because that is what got me a little bit behind. Okay.
I'm telling you that once you do a turn lock a few times, it becomes just as fast as a magnetic snap. Again, you can do a muslin on that too and just keep practicing cutting out holes. Like, that's what I did because I was getting real frustrated. Like, why is it not working? Like, I see everybody else makes it look so easy, and it was me. Definitely me.
Okay, so now I'm going to put my D-rings in because this is what I'm going to use for my straps because I don't have any rectangle rings. So in silver, so I'm just going to use D-rings. So I'm putting my D-ring in and then I'm going to baste it at the bottom. That way I don't have to clip it. And I'm just going to baste it at like a 1/4 of an inch.
On the box so it's not as loose, and I plan on maybe putting a rivet right here just with extra security. And I just like the way rivets look.
I'm going to put a rivet on mine too because I'm going to put a rivet right here in the middle for extra security, and I don't want to stitch it. That's why I'm doing a rivet. If you don't want to do a rivet, you can secure it with the stitch here so that your D-ring is not moving around.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab my second D-ring and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just going to baste it on at the bottom. Okay. Do the D-ring at the end.
I like the hooks on this because my daughter, she's kind of obsessed with it now. It's like she's like, oh, it's like the new fanny pack, and she's wearing it. And then my youngest daughter, who's 10, she likes to she flips it onto certain things, especially when she's drawing. She sticks all her like stuff in it and she clips it on. So I like to do both because then you have the option, but I love the idea of this just being a crossbody too. So
yes, I like crossbodies, so that's what I'm gonna do. I feel like I will never use the little like jean straps. Deb, have you used it? I absolutely love my thread zapper. Cheryl, the thread zapper is for threads. It helps from fraying. Because I'm using a bonded nylon. What did you say?
If it's polyester or nylon, it won't work.
If it's polyester or nylon. I use a bonded nylon, so that is why I'm able to use it. You can use it on cotton too, but it just won't like fray it. I've been able to use it on my cotton.
It didn't do anything on my cotton. It just like it didn't, because I guess I'm so used to it melting when I do it.
Okay, so now we are to the part with the zipper. So we are going to get one of your inside main panel pieces. Put a crease, fold it so you can get a crease, and then you're gonna grab one of your pockets here. I'm gonna grab this one. Fold it in half also to find the middle. You're gonna go 1.5 inches down. You're gonna put your piece. You're gonna put your piece down, wrong sides up. I'm gonna clip it. This helps hold it, and then I'm going to get my. First, I'm gonna make sure it's right in the middle. Not. Okay. So now it's right in the middle. 1.5 inches. Yep. 1.5 inches. Yep. Okay. And so now I'm just going to. Let's see.
Five inches by 3 8.
Yeah. So actually, it's going to be 1 inch up because I do my panels differently. So 1 inch up, and then right in the middle. So 1 inch, and then you clip it. You're going to go 1.5 inches down from the middle. And that is where you're going to put your, that's where you're going to put your, start your box. Okay. So 1.5 inch, just going to mark it here. Going to grab my little line. It's 5 inches, so it's going to be what, 2.5 inches on each side to make a 5-inch zipper.
Yes.
So 2.5 on one side and then 2.5 on the other side. And you're going to go down 1/2 inch from that. No, you're going to go 3/8 of an inch because we're using an all-purpose zipper. Unless if you're using a number 5 zipper, you'll go 1/2 inch. But I'm using a number 3. So I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to do the same thing. 2.5 inches on this side, 2.5 inches on this side. And I'm going to stitch my box or just a line.
I'm not doing a zipper pocket. For smaller bags, I do like having it, but for this one, I'm most likely gonna give to one of my daughters. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a bit blurry. Do I look blurry to you,
You
Monica?
don't look blurry. You don't look blurry anymore. I
Okay,
see
I
you
think
crystal clear.
okay. Yeah.
Hi, Karen. Sorry.
I
I'll just say
don't.
bye.
Hi, everybody. I can't see comments. I think I'm getting like the last comment I seen is that I'm a bit blurry.
Yes. So I'm not seeing them on my phone. I had to pull out my my iPad.
Oh, I should have brought my
Yeah.
laptop. For smaller bags, I have a mixed feeling about zippers because I personally don't use that function. I like the elastic pockets, or I like to make credit card slots inside this because this is such a small bag. So making a credit card slots inside, it could function as a wallet when you're out and about. If you're going to I'm like, what is the market when they have produce during the fall? I'm like lost of words. What I like to put things I know I'm going to use because sometimes I grab my debit card and my cell phone and I'm out. So I feel like this is the kind of bag that'd be perfect to have to function as a wallet. But I don't use the zippers in my wallets. It's really weird. Or if it's a big zipper in a big bag, I'll use it because then it's, there's some kind of division. But this bag is so small.
Yes, it is a tiny bag.
It's 6 inch. It's gonna be like 6 inches wide, 6 inches tall, 2 inches deep. It's not a very big bag. But like I said, I think the functionality of just like going to the grocery store and you have everything that you need in this bag is perfect.
Oh no, Karen. Yes, I tend to go live a little bit later in the day because I have 4 little boys and they're in school now, so I can't go earlier because I have to do their virtual learning. And so hopefully maybe I can start doing some on the weekends. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, I think weekend lives are helpful because I think most of us are in the same position where our kids are virtually learning,
Yeah.
and oh my God, I couldn't go live. I have 3 kids and they exude chaos. 14, 10, and 8. And I don't understand how they make that much noise.
Oh, mine too. I'm
They're just
surprised
like,
y'all weren't hearing them screaming earlier. They were, I don't know what they were doing.
I have a really good husband, so like whatever he's doing upstairs, I can't hear him because normally I can hear him. So I was like, everybody's gonna hear my kids bicker at each other because I think that like right now with being at home, like getting into arguments is relatively easy because you're tired of seeing each other. And with when kids are at school, they have a chance to like have their own friendships
Yes.
and
Yeah,
get
my
into
kids are at
it.
each other's throats because they've been with each other 24/7 for like 6 months straight.
Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's stressful for kids and stressful for parents too. So I couldn't go live during the day. I could definitely do it on the weekend because like Monica, we have like awesome husbands that are like very supportive. So having a significant other that's awesome helps.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I just turned in my pocket, and now I'm going to attach it to my 5-inch zipper. Like Chanova, you can omit this if you want to. Is it a drop-in lining?
No, we're gonna put the lining right sides together and turn the bag out.
Okay.
I like okay, the great thing about doing it the way Monica's doing is that you can leave the pocket open and just leave 5-inch room in the side of the lining, and when you turn it inside out you could turn the lining in from the pocket and have no seams whatsoever.
Yes.
So that's the beauty of the zipper pocket, or even a slip pocket. You can do a slip pocket without a zipper and just top stitch and have a beautiful slip pocket that's hidden inside the panel. I have done that where like somehow, some way my zipper the head got bent, and I have no idea how that happened. So instead I just turned it into a slip pocket, and like people like that because it's like not on the inside of the bag. It's on the, it looks like a zipper pocket, but it's hidden. So you're using double-sided tape?
Yes, I'm using double-sided tape because, I cannot get this straight. I tend to
I
always
use
have zippers inside. But I'm trying to, it's a smaller zipper, so I feel like, I don't know, probably just being extra. Okay, so I just double-sided tape my zipper.
I'm really loving the green against the black. It's like Halloween vibes. Like I'm loving it. Like slime from Nickelodeon.
That reminds me of my childhood.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
I love.
So now I'm just gonna go 1/8 of an inch. Well, sorry, I'm not fully happy with how this looks, so I keep adjusting it when I should just stick with it. Okay, there we go. That's as good as
I
it's gonna
say adjust it until you feel comfortable. I mean, it's your bag and your creation. You have to be comfortable with what you make. So, I mean, we are our hardest like critique on ourselves, but do what feels right for you.
Okay, so I'm kind of starting right, not fully at the top of my zipper, but a little bit down. That way I can go up and then turn in. That's just how I like to do it. I don't know why. So I'm going to go back stitch, making sure my stitch length is at a 4. And then I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch along my zipper. Okay. Now I'm going to go down and make sure that my metal is not in the way because there's a metal stopper. So I'm just going to go slowly. Okay, I just missed it. Perfect. I'm just going to hand crank a little bit. And then I'm going to turn where I need to go one more stitch. And then I can go back up 1/8 of an inch. So now I'm getting close. I'm gonna put my foot down, and I'm going to pull my zipper through, because I had it out so that I could sew all the way around. And then now I'm just going to put it all the way to the back here and continue on. Turn 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to clip my threads here. That way they don't get caught at the bottom, or so they don't nest or get jammed. And then
yeah,
I'm
that's the worst.
yes, I had that happen with one of my. Okay, and now I have my pocket done. Now I'm going to get this side, put them right sides together, and I'm going to stitch this to not close up my pocket. I'm going to leave the bottom open, but I'm going to match up my edges. Okay. And then I like to roll my pocket up. Hold on, just adjust this, make it even. I like to roll my pocket up maybe about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to stitch this pocket close at, let's see, 1/4 of an inch around the edge. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm folding it up because this is how I'm going to birth my bag through. And I'm going to make sure my lining isn't in the way. You don't want to accidentally stitch your lining to your pocket.
Yeah.
1/4 of an inch. I'm going to kind of go slow when I get here because there is a zipper stop, and I want to make sure I don't accidentally hit that.
Yeah, that's important because that could jam up your machine.
Yes. And I'm hitting it, so I'm just kind of working my needle. There we go.
And I am just lining up the lining gusset and doing like clips around the corners so that it can just like spread evenly, because there's no real structure to this. I'm just using duck canvas. It's molding beautifully. I do like the seam allowance is 1/2 inch, so I do the clips like 1/8 to 1/4, and I'll do like 5 or 6, and it just like again spreads out the fabric, and you're not trying to get out wrinkles. And if you do have it, just use your fingers and just mold the fabric around your hands and your fingers.
Okay. I'm just making my way back down. Making sure that my lining isn't in the way when I stitch it. Folding my bottom panel up like a 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. This will just help when it's time to turn it. So my panel's a little uneven, no biggie. I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to attach it at the top here. All the way. Just got wonky when I was stitching it.
It happens.
Do what?
It happens, and it's inside of the bag. Nobody's going to see it.
Exactly. what is it that Samantha says? If they're not really your friends, if they look in your pocket panels and they inspect your pockets or something like that.
I'm gonna need to Google that one, but now I'm thinking that's a great bag slogan.
Okay, so I'm just trimming down, and then I'm just gonna make sure this looks like, I just want to make sure that it's secure right here. So I'm just gonna stitch.
Yeah, I like to double stitch like where that little V is, and sometimes I'll like put a rivet in there so that way, especially if it's a bigger bag, it's easier to birth because it has that extra secure. It's secure when you have the rivets. Just gives you that extra.
So I am turning my pocket, and so this is why I like to fold up, because it folds it so that when it's time to top stitch it, it's easier when it pulls through. So
yeah, clean finish.
Yes. So our pocket panel piece is done. Now we can put it to our gusset. So I'm going to grab my lining pieces. I remember we already found the center snips for our bags, so this will be real easy.
Yeah, we're on page 7.
Yes, page 7 of the pattern. And grab my clips.
For the rounded curves, you can make little snips and it'll spread that fabric out. Because I feel like a lot of people say they have problems with the curves, and all you have to do is do little snips, and it's amazing how much like more room you have, and it just looks cleaner.
Okay, so I am matching my tots, and now throw my clip. I'm going to make my way down on this curve here.
I like waterproof canvas because if you spill something in your bag, you can just like wipe it up. And I think that's amazing because like you can't do that with a cotton bag. Your interfaces.
I feel like my like anything that's inside is like safe from like rain. Like if you get caught in like a downpour, you don't have to worry about like your stuff getting damaged inside. I mean, it's obviously not 100% waterproof. You can't submerge it, but raindrops is not gonna hurt. So I'm just easing this in, and I'm gonna need to put some clips into my gusset because it's not. I want to spread these this fabric right on the corner. And so now it fits perfectly now that I clipped it. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side here. It's just within the seam allowance. I want to clip. So about
it's amazing what little clips can do.
Yes.
That was one trick I wish somebody would have told me when I first started bag making.
Yes, clipping helps ease the seams. Okay. So now I'm just going to so now we're going to do this at 1/2 inch. I have my seam, or I have my stitch length at a 3. I'm going to go all the way around at a 1/2 inch, making sure you don't accidentally catch your pocket.
Yeah. And see, for me, I went all the way around, and I have the little kangaroo, and it caught the edges of that, so it's just clean inside, and it's just elastic, and it just, I don't know, I like the look of the kangaroo pouch. It just stick your phone in there, you have your dividing, or just put whatever you want in there.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think I might have to make another bag when I get my book. I think I'm going to have to make a kangaroo pouch on one of my bags.
She also, in the book, she also has this, I have made a lot of wallets. but her method for credit card slots is outrageous. Like it was a total game changer in her book. And I got her book. It just became available on Amazon, I think today. But I got her book like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was super excited because I was like, her book is going to be amazing, and she has all these crazy, like, cool techniques, and I was really surprised. I was like, because once you've been bag making or you sew, you think that every single book has the same techniques, and realistically, no, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really excited because her credit card techniques, how to stick it on inside any bag, total game.
Okay, so I'm almost done coming up on this gusset piece here. I'm just working my way. Okay, so now what? We're gonna trim it down to 1/8 of an inch.
Yes, and trimming helps tremendously. It makes your bag look crisper and less bulk on the seams.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So, uh-oh.
What's wrong?
Yay, Cindy, I'm so glad it turned out good. Please post pictures and tag us in it.
Oh, she finished the bag?
Yes. I know, guys.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm so slow. Kathy, I get my waterproof canvas from Hobby Lobby, but you can also get it from Fabric Warehouse Direct.
Yeah.
Belle, Chanova,
Hobby Lobby
what's
was
the
good.
Miss H's book?
But it is the bag making masterclass. She has this bag that is a messenger bag that turns into a crossbody bag. And with her permission, I'm going to take this bag from this book, and we're taking. Should I tell them about the bag we're taking out of retirement?
Yeah, you can. You might as well.
Mrs. H gave us permission to take out Dorian, and I'm going to modify it. And I'm going to show you how I take 2 patterns, and we're going to take Dorian where it's going to be, you can wear it as a messenger bag, crossbody, and a backpack. So I'm really excited about this because that means that I can make this for a lot of different people in my life and have it customized for them. For one, my son, like I found some really cool Lego fabric, and I'm going to turn it where he can wear it as a crossbody, stick his Nintendo Switch in it, his tablet, and wear it as a backpack. So if he's going to Grandpa's house, he's good to go. So it's gonna be a class. I'm gonna walk you through it, and I think it's gonna be really, yes, order the book. You can get it on Amazon now. I am telling you, or I think either Emmeline Bag or somebody else today has copies because I'm a nerd like that. I got mine to make sure that I got it signed. I know that sounds so nerdy, but I love a signature. So I'm really excited. This book, it comes with like, I'm going to take this crossbody bag and merge it with the Dorian. So we're going to take the Dorian out of retirement, and I'm really excited about that because when I first found Swoon, Dorian was retired. And I was like, wait, I'm really looking for a messenger bag so I can make my husband, my son, and just anybody. And we're going to make this backpack crossbody into like an epic gift to give to somebody or for yourself. Or if you go to work and you take the trail or the Sam or subway. I'm really excited. Yes, that's Amazon. Thank you, Lisa.
Right. Really so Chanova is a very advanced bag maker, so she's pretty much already done. I feel like she's just waiting on me. I am super slow.
No, I'm loving the conversation. Normally I'm listening to Audible, and it's usually the same book. Like I don't know of any. I listen to the one with quotes. Right now, The Wise Man Knows Fear, The King Killer Chronicles. I have a weird affinity for that book. Or I'll listen to Joe Abercrombie, The First Law, and I'm just listening to books. So like listening, to, like watching Monica and seeing her techniques and listening, having all of you, I'm like really excited. Kind of nervous, but excited.
Yes, this is, I know that this, everybody that's watching, this is a little bit different from my normal lives, but I just really wanted to like, this is a really quick and easy pattern, and I have been begging Chanova to go live for a while. So
Yeah.
I was like, please hop on with me.
I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for her. Like, Monica's like super brave, and she like inspired me to go and do it, because I'm usually the person that's really quiet in the background just making something, and I just want to help, and I know a lot of tips, and I want to just help people, because I think that people are intimidated by making bags, and I think if you could sew a straight stitch, you can make a bag. And I don't think you need a special machine, nothing. If it gets to the point where you're like doing this as a career, then cool, get a special machine. But it's not exactly necessary. I've seen beautiful bags on all kinds of machines. I use my Rocketeer a lot too. I have a Singer 503A. I love that thing on vinyl.
So right now I am just cutting down my edges. I attached the other side of my lining piece. And so now I have we're going to turn it inside out to see what it looks like. So I'm just turning it inside out to see how I did on my stitching. If you get some puckering, it's okay. The lining is always the safest part to like have some puckering. So this is my panel, my top side. It did have a little bit. I think I right here I had one where it kind of overlaps. It's not even noticeable. It's okay. It's gonna be inside the lining. I'm not worried about it.
Nope. I am cutting my thing down to 1/8 of an inch. I have the opposite side of my kangaroo pocket. The lining is open about 3.5, 4 inches, and that's how I'm going to turn mine out. And I'm a weird person. I actually like hand stitching, so I'll do an invisible stitch inside of it, or if I'm tired, then I'll just do do the stitching with my sewing machine and call it a day.
Okay, so now it's time to assemble the bag. So actually, we need to add we need to make sure we add the oh, I totally missed a step on the bags.
This part right here.
Yes. I'm like, wait, I need to put on. So nope, no biggie. Oh no, okay, I found it.
So
now I'm just going to do what? You have yours?
Well, yeah, I have mine on there, and then, man, this bag is so little. Like, there's some makeup pouches that are bigger than this bag.
Yes, this is gonna be I think this would be a really cute, like, little girl's gift.
Or if you change it up and have like a magnetic snap or a buckle, it could be really cool for a boy, depending on what fabric you get.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so I'm going 1/4 of an inch from the front side. It's supposed to be 1/4 of an inch on each side, but as long as it's somewhat even, it's okay. So I just want to make sure that one side is at least even, just in case my bag is not even. Like if my seam allowance was off a little bit.
Yeah, and that happens. That can happen because fabric shifts a lot. sometimes, and it happens. And correcting your seams, like what you're doing right now, makes all the difference in the world.
Yes. Okay. So I got my 1/4 of an inch from the front on each side, and I'm going to go ahead and base that. You're going to base that at a 1/4 of an inch. So.
And I'm just aligning. I put my bag in the inside, and I am just aligning the seams. I like to align the seams first, and then kind of, even though this is only 1/8 of an inch, I kind of open up the seams a little bit, so that way it all just is really smooth and even. It just helps with domestic, because when I'm on my industrial machines, I don't care which way the seams go, because I know my industrial is going to go through it. But if you're on a domestic, at this point, we're working with, on your lining could be cotton and then woven fuse, so that's 2, and then you have whatever structure you put on your lining, and then we're going through the bulk of the straps. So whatever can help make it not bulky.
I just added my base my okay. So that's basted. So now that my lining is right side, we can go back to the very back. Okay, page 7. So now we're gonna so open your zipper pocket first, because that would be really sad if you don't. With the lining side wrong side out and the exterior side right side out, you're just gonna place this inside. I like my zipper pocket to be in the back, so that's how I'm gonna make sure that it is.
And then I use a lot of clips when I'm putting this together too, because I want it to be nice and taut and there's no ripples.
Yes. So I'm going to make sure, so first I'm going to start by clipping my seams, because I want that to be even. So I'm making sure my seams are even, and then from there I can clip the rest. So clip and now I have just gonna place a couple clips here where
I think I have like 10 clips or 15 on this small little bag.
that's gonna be me.
I put a lot of clips on where the flap's gonna be, because I feel like it's the heaviest part. It shifts the most.
Definitely. Okay, so now I have my clips all around my top, and we're gonna sew, making sure that you tuck the flap and connectors down between the layers. You don't want them sticking out. And you're gonna sew at a 1/4 of an inch, and then we're gonna trim. We're gonna trim the seam allowance down 1/8 of an inch, but you're not going to trim where the straps are at.
Correct.
So I'm going to start in the front. Doesn't really matter where you start, because you're not going to see the stitching at all. So I'm just going to start where it's less bulky.
I always start where it's most bulky at. I don't know why. Like,
I like to work my nerves up to it. Okay, so at a 1/4 of an inch, right?
Yeah, 1/4 of an inch.
1/4 of an inch. We're going to. So I have my stitch at a 3, because that's what I like to use when I'm connecting my bags.
I'm at a 3 too.
So
don't forget the back stitch.
And now I'm just moving my bag, squishing it down.
Yeah, you can squish it down. It's not going to hurt it.
Yes. So I'm going a 1/4 of an inch all the way around this bag. So you're gonna see kind of where the flap was at. Make sure that your stitch is either a little bit above it or right on top of it, because if you go below that previous stitch length, you'll see the basting stitch for the.
Yeah, that's not fun, especially on vinyl, because with cotton you can take the basting stitch out, but not on vinyl.
Yes. So, just making my way, almost there. And I'm gonna go back after I do this. I'm gonna go back where my vinyl straps are at, my strap connectors, and at 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to stitch a second stitch length. Oh no, I'm going to. Oh wait, sorry, I ran out of bobbin just in time. So, once I change my bobbin. Oh wait, no. What happened? Sorry.
Yeah, it happens. I do the same thing.
Came unthreaded. But what I'm going to do is after I do this, I'm going to go back where my strap connectors are at, and I just want to do an extra secure stitch.
I do the same thing.
It just makes me feel better since I'm not using rivets. So I'm just going to go 1/8 of an inch where my strap connector is at, and I'm going to add a
I
second
can go with rivets, anything, because it's that extra security for me.
Yeah, exactly. That's done. Now I'm going to go to my other side and do the same exact thing, doing an extra row at 1/8 of an inch, right where my strap connectors are at.
I actually like to go and do another row of stitching on the flap. Because it's just such a bulky area. I just feel like it's more secure if I just do just one extra row.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit different on vinyl though, because you don't want to perforate that area because it's so heavy.
Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to put my hand through. Oh wait, actually, I need to trim down my seam allowance 1/8 of an inch. Just right here where the flap is. I'm not going to do the sides at all. Because you don't want to weaken that strap.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of V out. It's going to be a little hard. I'm going to go from this side. Just going to V out about 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to start going back out.
If you're doing it with all cotton, I like to hold my shears kind of at an angle so that the lining gets cut lower than the outside fabric. So when you turn it inside out, it's different. It's a different level, and it's not all this bulk. It can kind of conceal in the bulk. It's kind of, if you make clothes, it's the same thing. It's kind of just making sure that the seam is concealed and not as bulky, I guess. It's a weird tactic because I use a lot, like I think that's where people get caught up, is they're like, the seams are so bulky, and it's little tricks of snipping little areas can help with the bulk so much.
So I'm just birthing my bag through. Once I get that flap through, it's going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to use my thumbs to push it in on itself. Okay. And now I'm going to put my hand through, and I'm just going to rub my fingers right on the edge of right on my seams on my outside where my vinyl is at, just to push that vinyl out. There we go. Yep. Okay. Now I'm just gonna before I close up my my zipper pocket, I like to push everything in and make sure that it's going to sit nicely.
Yes.
Because if maybe I messed up or I didn't catch my seam, or, you can go back and fix it if you hadn't thrown up your pocket yet. So I'm just making sure everything lays nice and flat.
And I'm just hitting it with some steam because if you're doing cotton, like I said, a good press can make all the difference in the world.
Hi, Melinda. Yes, you can purchase a pattern from me if you search my name. I have the link for the Tonia bag up for this pattern. It's my affiliate link. Let's see. I'm hoping I'm not missing any questions. Cheryl, good. I'm glad you're learning from us.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to share.
T, you can use knit fabric. You just got to make sure that you interface it and stabilize it.
Yes.
Chanova uses cotton Lyrica all the time.
All the time. And you can use stabilizer or woven fuse or pretty much anything that can Declaville light. I say cut the shape of your bag. Okay, so here's this pattern piece. Cut the shape of the pattern piece with the stabilizer first, not the fabric, and then put it on the area that you're going to stabilize, and therefore you can cut it out perfectly and it won't shift that area at all. No stretching, it won't look distorted. I could definitely do a live on how to stabilize knits because I I use them all the time.
So now we're going to top stitch our flat or around the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right in this corner because it's going to hide the seam because it's going to hide my back stitch. So just kind of work it in there, making sure that I want to make sure that I turn my stitch length to a 4.
Yes. Longer stitch length, less hassle.
I'm just going to back stitch, and now I'm going to make my way all the way around, making sure that my lining is below my. You can pin this or you can clip this to help keep it even. I'm just going to run my fingers through, and
I'm going to I'm rolling the lining so it's a little under where you can see the outside of the fabric, so that way it goes perfect. I personally love to start at where the flap is because this is going to need the most security because it's a flap. You don't want it to be pulled off and it's done. So as you can see, I'm rolling, I'm clipping, and I'm going to be using a stitch length of 4 on my machine too. When I top stitch, I always start in a corner so you can't see the back stitch. It won't be as visible.
okay.
And it's 1/8 of an inch seam allowance.
I think it's a 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
But you can do 1/8 of an inch, all personal preference at this point.
Yeah.
Top stitching. Okay, so I'm getting around to my back flap. I'm just making sure everything's still nice and even. I'm doing 1/4 of an inch because I do have vinyl and stuff, and so it's a little bit bulky. 1/8 of an inch will look fine, but I just feel like 1/4 of an inch would work better.
A lot of people have problem with their top stitching. I tell them to also if they turn their back bag inside out, where where the lining's showing, it's just for some odd reason it's easier. I can't. I don't know if it's mind over matter kind of situation, but sometimes I top stitch from the inside of the bag.
Yeah, that's what I'm top stitching from the inside. Okay. Snips done. And so now I'm going to get my thread zapper, if I could find where it's at, and I'm going to zap my threads. Being very careful not to burn my vinyl. Yes.
Because it smells awful when it burns. Two, it makes this like black brown mark that you can't get off. Like,
yeah. Okay.
There's things you can do. If you have leather paint, you could dab it on there so it's not as visible. Or paint markers, and you can seal it with like a little bit of glue after you do that. But you just need to give it like 24 hours to cure, so that way it doesn't like, you know, remove itself or melt or whatever. It just needs time to cure.
So I just top stitched my top. Now I'm getting my zipper pocket and I am folding it. And this is why I like that fold when I do my zipper and how I folded it up. Because look at this. I just put my fingers in here and it wants to fold on its own. And you got a nice even edge.
And it's beautiful.
Yes. Now I'm just going to top stitch this at 1/4 of an inch, keeping my stitch length at 4.
I'm going to take my lining, pop it out, take this little hole and pull taut, get a couple of clips. This is when you need a third hand, but unfortunately I don't have one. And you just clip. And then I'll top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch. But see how if you pull it, then you won't get this weird gappage. And if you do it this way too, if you have woven tags, you can put it inside the lining.
Yes, I don't have woven tags, so I did my pocket. Looks nice and neat.
Beautiful.
Yes. So now I'm just going to. What I like to do is I get my fingers and I push this corner in, so that I have a nice, like sharp corner bag on my pocket. I'm going to get my chopstick, maybe, if I know where they are. Yep. I'm going to get my chopstick. I'm just going to push that corner in. That way the corners aren't sticking out when I fold, this. They go into the bag versus up into the pocket, if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay.
And mine, I just did the lining. And this is super cute. And then you give this a hard press. Look at here. That's like a nice firm. I totally forgot the word. That's a nice firm. What is it? I can't think of the name of the flap. Oh, the flap. It's a nice firm flap, and I did this on a domestic machine. I did this all on a domestic machine. You can do any bag. It just takes time and patience.
Yes.
And
definitely.
ironing.
Okay, so I have my little. This is my bag.
That's beautiful. It totally gives me Halloween feels.
Yes, I'm glad I went with the green.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I love that pop of color.
And so my top stitching all the way around. And now we can move on to the strap.
I ironed mine strap, and I'm now going to top stitch it 1/8 of an inch. This, I didn't have hardware for 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to order some from Invisalign bags because I want to make this with 3/4 of an inch. So instead I modified it and used 4 inch wide, and I believe they say the strap needs to be 40 inches, which seems really small, but it's because the extenders are over 5 inches. It gives it that 10 inches that it normally would be in a crossbody.
Yes, and I added link to mine because I was not doing the 5-inch strap connectors. So mine is, I believe, 24, 48 inches long.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold, and what I do straps with cotton woven, I'm trying to do this, I cut at an angle to reduce the bulk, a V inside that I'm going to fold this top part in so that it could be the end of the strap and have a clean edge. And see, when you do that, you don't have little tails poking out. Because sometimes when you fold it, like it comes out. If you do that little V, it won't do that. And it reduces the bulk. Or you could put, you know, they have strap metal hardware, strap ins. Some of them are so lush, so beautiful. But you can just do that.
So since I'm using a vinyl, I just have to fold, and I don't have to worry about edges. Not really so. Let me see. Where is? Sorry, I ran out of tape, so I'm having to.
Oh wow!
The tape on the edge, 1/4 inch.
I need to get a 1/2 inch tape. I ran out of that yesterday. I was like, what is? How am I running out of tape?
I know. I am so reliant on double-sided tape.
Oh yeah. And I'm getting weirdly, I have preferences of where to get them and like what's my second favorite. Some double-sided tape works so much better than others.
Yeah, that's very true.
When I get to the end of this strap, I'm going to do the same thing, cut that V in the inside so that way I can make the end of this strap have a nice clean finish when I fold it in and reduce the bulk.
So I am doing my vinyl right now. I am going up. I drew a 2-inch line because I am making for the center mark, I have to do 2 inches because my strap is cut at 4 inches to make a 1-inch strap. And so right now I'm not cutting up, but I'm leaving a little bit of a gap, like 1/8 of an inch from where that line is at.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when I grab the other side of my vinyl and I butt it up 1/8 of an inch, I have, or you know, 1/16 of an inch, I have 1/8 of an inch gap between the two, so that when I fold my vinyl, it folds nicely. You don't get it; it won't be lopsided. You don't want that bulk in the middle because it will offset your straps when you fold them.
Yeah, and it looks really wonky. It gets this really weird wonky effect.
Yes. So I'm just making sure that I leave about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to do the other side.
What stitch length do you do your straps on?
Do what?
What stitch length do you use for your straps?
I do a 4 for my straps too.
Yeah, I like the look of the longer stitch on the strap.
Yes. Same. So I'm just leaving about 1/8 of an inch gap between my two vinyl pieces. I'm not butting it up directly to each other, raw edge to raw edge. I'm leaving a gap. That way it folds nicely. And then I'm just gonna, and then after this, I will just stitch at a 1/8 of an inch on each side. And then I'll make my strap. I think I'm gonna rivet it just because I tend to overstuff my bags.
I like riveting for two things. One, I think it gives it a cleaner finish. Two, I think the security of the strap is better, no matter if it's woven or whatever.
Agreed.
So I did 1/8 of an inch, and I love this. This, I can't believe my thread actually matched the fabric. I'm literally baffled by this. So I'm saying, because I have the hooks on the bag, you're going to do it similar to any other strap. You're going to, like, if this was the hook, you're going to take this and you're going to mark it to whatever your preference is. I like it a little, like, I want to say almost 2 inches or 1.5 inches to tell. Let me just double check. Oh, my phone's about to die. That sucks. If I disappear, it's my phone. 2 inches.
Thank you, Belle. Thank you, Karen. So I rivet. I have a leather hole punch that I use to make my hole, and then I do it the old-fashioned way. I have a rubber mallet and a rivet set.
I like it that way. I don't know. You can bang out a little bit of frustration, and it gives us real authentic look. I'm making a little X box corner on my 2-inch little tail, so that way it can be extra secure if you're not going to use a rivet.
Okay, and so this is why I leave an 1/8 of an inch, because look, you see how nicely flush that is together?
That's
no
beautiful.
overlapping. So that is why I like to do that. So I'm making sure my stitch length is at a 4, and now I am going to start on the folded side. So the side that's folded right here, that's where I'm going to start my stitch length. And I'm going to stitch at an 1/8 of an inch from that side, go all the way down. I'm going to throw this over my shoulder. And I'm going to backstitch if I have it. I'm just going to make my way all the way down.
I'm going to put a slider on this side. And then I'm going to take a D-ring that just magically disappeared. There it is. And put it through. And then put this tail in back into the slider. So I like giving the 2-inch tail. I don't know why. That's just my preference. I think I can get. Okay. And I'm going to sew it down.
And now I'm just going to go down the other side. And then I'm just about done.
Yeah, we're like at the home stretch.
Yep. Okay, so now, oh no, guys, uh-oh, I think Chanova, and I just did all that stitching for no reason because my bobbin went out. Ugh, the worst. Okay. Gonna do my bobbin. Are you talking about mine? I use a Teflon foot for my sewing, and it looks like Shanova's phone died, so we're so close to being done. So right now I'm just doing the strap. I'm gonna attach it. I'm going to, my bobbin ran out, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go about 4 stitches up, and I'm going to stitch in the exact same spot, back stitching, and then continuing. Okay. Uh-oh. So just gonna snip this off here. I hope I can see questions still. Just looking for my snips. I lost them. Here they are. Going to thread zap my threads, making sure I don't burn my vinyl. So I'm going to thread zap these right here. There we go. Okay, and so now I have my strap. Just gonna even it up, and then I can attach it. There we go. So I'm doing mine a little bit differently because I'm not using so I'm gonna rivet mine. So I'm just folding it up, let's see, about an inch. And then I'm going to add my swivel or my adjustable strap, if I can just find it. So I have my slide adjuster, and I'm going to, oh, actually, oh wait, no. My brain is not working. So 1 inch down, and then we're going to make this adjustable strap. So you're going to put it in, making sure it's the right way. And then you're going to push it back up and down here. and that will make your strap adjustable. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. I'm doing this wrong somehow. I know how to do this. What am I doing? Oh. Actually, we need to put it through. So now, here we go. So now you're going to put your loop, your strap through here, kind of like if you're doing a swivel hook, and then you're going to put it through here. And then it will be correct, right? Yes. So just like that, but do it the other way, not this way, because you want to be able to. So let me show you. So you're going to go through the other side here and then down so that it is on the inside. And now you have an adjustable strap. So I like to do about 1 inch. Let me fix this. Okay. So I'm going to keep this about 1 inch here. On this side, pull that through. And I'm going to rivet it right here. And I'll have an adjustable strap. Sorry, everyone. You're going to put it on this one. Don't do the other one like I was going to do. I'm going to figure it out. I feel like sometimes I overthink straps when they're really super easy. But that is why I clip and I make sure that it's going to function correctly before I rivet it. So now we have our, oh, yay, Chanova's back. Okay. Hey.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. My phone died.
I figured, I told them, I'm trying to figure out the straps, but I was overthinking it. I figured it out, my adjustable strap. Because normally I'm used to doing an adjustable strap with swivel hooks on it, but I'm not doing swivel hooks. So I had to, I figured it out. Okay. So now this is how the bag is going to be. It's now adjustable. So I'm going to rivet right here, right in the middle, and I'm going to rivet right here. And then I will, my strap is pretty much done.
My strap is done too. I can rivet, I like to rivet on the sides and then in the thing, but what for cotton, I like to do just an X, and it's like a box with an X, and it's super cute. And it just needs a really good press. But I think this is a cute gift. Like, I'm contemplating whether to give this to my mom. She likes bunnies.
So let me see, where are my rivets? I have black rivets. Perfect. So black rivets are like 9 inch, I believe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide my raw edges of my vinyl. So I'm just folding it up here. And that will help also add an extra layer for my rivets so I don't like mess it up by having too thin of a layer, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my rivets, and I just eyeball it. Oh, it looks like Chanova is out. She'll probably join again. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Where's my pen? So what I do is I kind of see where I want it. And I'm going to add, that's where I want my rivet here. So I'm going to punch my hole first here. With it folded, I'm going to match where I want it. And I'm going to add a dot so that I know where to punch my second hole. And perfect. Now I can get my rivets. And these I got on Amazon. I like to shop at Amazon. So I'm going to place my rivet in through both the holes and out the other side. Oh, thank you, Anderson. I'm glad that you learned you learned some stuff. I'm telling you, Chanova is an amazing bag maker. Okay, so I just put my rivet in. I'm making sure I can feel that pop. And then I'm going to grab my rivet press here, well, my rivet setter, and I'm going to set it with my hammer, and I just hammer it like 5 times. And there is my rivet. I'm going to do the same exact thing to this side. I know that I don't think I'm going to be able to get all the way through. I can try. Oh, perfect. Just going to make sure it's nice and aligned, centered. And I'm going to add my rivet. Whoops. So I'm adding my rivet through the second side. Grab my cap. Yes, I know this sew along was different than normal, but I'm hoping it was still helpful. Okay, I'm going to look. I dropped my rivet. Luckily, I have a second one because I tend to lose everything. Hold on. Oh, I found it. This one has a bigger divot on it for this bigger cap here. Okay. And we are done. So that is, let me pull y'all back. Move this. Okay. So this is the adjustable strap. I'm going to put it all the way down for a crossbody. And there you have it. Cute little crossbody. Super excited. I can't wait to wear this. Oh. So perfect size crossbody. I will have Chanova. I'll make sure that Chanova posts her pictures when she's done. But thank you so much for joining. I will see you on the next one. I do have a Betty Bowler bag that I'm cutting out now, so I'll probably go live for that sometime this probably this weekend because it's for a custom order. It's 80% sized, so it's sized at 80%. So it's going to be smaller. It's going to be different. It's not going to be massive like the other one. But yeah, so I will put that in the event section again, so that if you want to join me and hop on and see me sew up a Betty Roller bag at 80%, you can. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Good night, and I will see y'all all this week. Make sure if you did the sew along that you post pictures and you tag us in it, because I want to see your creations and what you made. So thank you, everybody. Good night, Rebel. Good night, Christy, Belle, Deb, Cheryl, and Kimberly. Good night. Bye.